What is up, Tampa Bay? Welcome to another episode of What's Happening in Tampa. I'm joined by my wonderful and talented co-hostess with the mostest. Good evening, Stacy.
Good evening. How's it going today?
It's going well. That was a mouthful to get it out.
I have to do those like exercises with your tongue before you go live. Make sure you don't stumble over your words.
Absolutely. How now, brown cow? The fox jumps over something. I know there's something you do with that, but that's not what this is about. Welcome, y'all. If this is your first time joining us, we talk all things Tampa Bay, what it's like to live here, what it's like to work here, what it's like to play here, about the food, the dining, the outdoors, the beaches, and the sunshine. And again, I'm here with Stacy Amon up in Pasco County. My name is Juan Alcala, if we've never met before, and we are team members of the True Living Group, where we help people just like you buy, sell, and relocate all over the greater Tampa Bay area. Now, what is this? Our live stream, very interactive. We put Q&A up there for a reason, because we love engaging with our audience. The first thing we're going to ask you to do, if you're joining us live, let us know where you're watching from. Love to connect with you guys. We have quite the community we built over here in the last year, and love connecting with each and every one of you. You guys have been an amazing group to share this space with. So we've been great. Also, a lot of your questions drive our videos on this channel. So do not hesitate to let us know what you'd like to see from us. Tonight, we talk a lot about news, local things happening here, new restaurants opening up, those types of things. I got some really cool stuff to share about Florida and some more of the accolades we've got here, but also some good news on the traffic front, which is great. I know everybody likes to hear that. We're also going to head up north to Pasco County and go out to Two Rivers and talk about that new development, along with Vita's Way up in Wesley Chapel also. So going to get into some of that new stuff. Excited to talk about that as well, Stacy. And I was just sharing with Stacy all right before you walked in, and I want to say hello to everyone and kind of get into the story here. But shout out to Desi. Yeah, I know you're not always able to make it right away, so thanks for joining us. Happy to see Desiree in the house. Shout out to Brian Cook, by the way. Stacy, I got an Instagram message from Brian. He pulled his wife in on the thread. He's like, hey, it's Taco Tuesday. We plan everything around your live stream, which is a huge honor, right? So I don't know that we're worthy, Mr. Cook. So we appreciate y'all. Thank you very much. I love when I get those messages, guys. So if you want to connect with us on Instagram, you can see Stacy and my handle right there. Another great way to connect with us outside of the number that you will always find at the bottom, along with our website, which you can see right there. Awesome ways to connect. So I love that. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you. Got Ronnie in the house. What's up, my man? I'm doing fabulous. What about you, Stacy?
Yes, I'm doing fabulous now that I'm home. I'll tell you. I'm glad we're talking about traffic today, because I was stuck.
We are going to talk about traffic today, no doubt. All right. We got Tim up in Nashville. Shout out to Nashville. Love it. How's the weather up there, Tim? Hopefully it's well. We got Peggy over on Instagram. She says, go Birds. Congratulations, by the way. I am still licking my wounds from the Lions loss 2 weeks ago. But that is nothing abnormal for a Lions fan. So that letdown I've been preparing for that all year. I never drank the Kool-Aid. I stayed on the sideline, and I was ready to not go all the way. So as much as that hurts to say me, shout out and congratulations to the Eagles and the Chiefs, who I am now starting to root against. So I don't know what else to say about that. But shout out to you guys. Love that. All right. Lindsay, what's up, Lindsay? Love it. She says, hey, Juan and Stacy, next time you're home, let's meet up at the taco stand. You know it. Now, you know me too well when you know exactly where I go to eat tacos. Now, this is funny. So, Brian, shout out to you. You mentioned Taco Tuesday, and I want to give a shout out to some of my best friends, the Lopez family, who are the owners of the taco stand back in Metro Detroit. I think they have 7 locations now. Starting off, just a little bitty taco stand, have now gone to 7 locations. So I love that. I'm trying just so desperately to convince them to come to Tampa Bay. So if you see a taco stand pop up in Tampa Bay, make sure you reach out to those guys and let them know we love you. We appreciate you. That's awesome. Abby, I love it. Thank you, Abby. Pleasure to connect with you too. We're just talking about tacos already. How bad can today be? All right. So since we're talking about tacos, I can't let this go. If you guys want to, I talk about my favorite taco shops here all the time, but I don't want to let just smooth past this. You've got Casitas Taqueria in St. Pete. That's in the Grand Central District on the west end of Central Avenue, right around 26th Street. Incredible tacos there. So that's one of my very favorite spots. Kate and I go there on date night all the time. Another great taco shop locally here is if you go to South Tampa, you can go to Streetlight Taco. Stacy, the second time we went in there, they had a mariachi and the whole blowout, right? And it was just, they've got these most decadent tacos. It's like, it's not the street taco that I grew up with in Southwest Detroit, which is, pastor and just a little bit of onion, cilantro on top. This is like, they put brisket in there and cheese and the whole thing. It's just absolutely incredible. So go check those out, y'all. If you've never been to those taco shops, they're amazing. Also, if you're local, let us know what your favorite taco shops are in the area. All right. Anywhere in Tampa Bay. This man loves to eat, in case you didn't notice, right? Like, this isn't the slimmest thing in the world. Body by tacos. That's what I'm sharing with y'all. So I love it. Thanks for sharing, guys. Appreciate that. Corey says, hey, y'all. Corey tuning in from C-Bus. What is up? Sassy, Denise, Vlad, Lobo, Denise. Love it, Chris. Hope y'all had a great weekend. Chris, congratulations on probably the most illegitimate national championship I've ever. No, I'm kidding, by the way. Congrats. And for those wondering why I'm saying that, Corey is a Buckeyes fan. So not everyone can be saved. That's what I tell everybody. But here's what I want everybody to understand. Can you really be the champ if you don't beat the champs? I need to know. Let us know in the comments. Can you be the champion if you didn't beat the champs? Don't know. But hey, you got the hardware. We don't. We're at home. So I can say whatever I want sitting on this chair and change the outcome this year. Shout out, Corey. I love it. Denise says, I got a call from a corporate recruiter in Clearwater today, so I may be coming here. Nice. This has been your dream to get back home, right? Right, Desiree? You're trying to make it back, if I remember correctly. So love that. Congratulations to you. Try being a Jets fan. Well, dude, you just stole our defensive coordinator. You got Mr. Glenn. And I wouldn't say it's stealing. I know he was a Jet at one point. So congrats. Best of luck with that, man. And I feel you. Jets fans, Lions fans, both know pain and suffering for sure. Love it. All right. What is the job market like in Tampa and St. Pete, Stacy? Love that. Hey, Mark off. Love it. Okay, Mark. Or hey, or what? I don't know what we're supposed to call you, but shout out to you. Great question. Tampa was ranked number 4 in the country for job destinations in 2023. I don't know what final rankings are going to be in 2024 yet. We should see those pretty soon. But it's really going to depend on your field. Technology is booming right now, right, Stacy? What else do we see moving here? A lot of like, what are our probably top 5 industries that you see moving here?
Medical.
Yep.
Technology.
Yep. Education.
Yes.
Education. We do a lot of education clients, university, medical at, the cancer centers or daycare. Medical is always in demand. There's no doubt about that. Finances.
Yeah.
We see a lot of finance as well. So those are probably the top 4. That may not be your thing, but also Florida is extremely business friendly. And speaking of which, for those entrepreneurs out there, I think
we do get a lot of calls with people who are entrepreneurs wanting to move their small business here.
Yep. Or start a business down here, which I think is appropriate share time. So speaking of which, we just had this article pop up from Wallet Hub, Stacy, that recognized Florida as the best state to start a small business for the 2nd year in a row. I shared this last year on a live stream, and I think it's important to take note. God, it's always so hard to read. See if that gets any better for y'all. Forgive me. Clear my throat there. But yeah, for the 2nd year in a row, Florida is the best state in the nation to start a business, according to the latest Wallet Hub report. The Sunshine State claimed the top spot in the year's ranking, followed by Georgia, Utah, Texas, and Idaho, which rounded out the top 5. I'll always love sharing stuff like that because people always wonder, there's a lot of benefits to Florida. We don't have any state income tax, which, if you make really good money, that can have a tremendous impact on you. If you don't make if you don't have a big salary, then it's not nearly, it doesn't typically have as big as impact on your household, but it can, depending on where you're moving from. Stacy and I have been on these Zoom calls with clients that pay 10, 13% in income tax to the state. Our California, we call them refugees. Right? They're like bailing out. They're like, man, I don't want to lose my pension or whatever it is. So they end up moving to Florida because they don't have to pay a state income tax, which is beneficial. So I know that's a little bit tangent from your original question there, but I thought it was worth sharing because those are important things to note. Don't know what industry you're in, but yeah, we're still chugging along. 141 people every day moved to Tampa in 2024. That's a lot, y'all. Right? You're not coming unless there's opportunity for the most part. So great question though, man. Great question. Happy to share that with you. Awesome. Tim says, hope you guys are enjoying the warm weather. Has been cold up here. We'll be up in the 50s tomorrow. Yeah, we're just starting to turn as well. There was a joke running around today that we got our participation trophy for winter last week, and now we're back out of it because we're supposed to be in the high 70s by the end of next week.
And it feels so good.
So good.
So good. I'm so tired of wearing my coat and a sweater and yeah.
10 days and we complain like it's the end of the world, right?
I feel like it was longer in 10 days. It was like 3 weeks of cold, like winter coat, cold.
It was 10 days, y'all. But it did. She's not wrong. It did feel that way. It felt like 3 months as far as I'm concerned, Stacey. I'm right there with you. I'm not judging you for how it felt. Right. But we just have to try to keep things in perspective. There may be a little bit of hyperbole on the length of our winter. But yeah, man, I went out today with I left the house with jeans and a t-shirt and a flannel. And by 11 o'clock, I was taking that flannel off. So cry me a river on January 28th for most humans, right? They're like, you guys. Yeah. What do you say? All right. Don't forget about the tacos at Casatina. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Corey. Don't let me forget that. Casatina does a great job. I really like their signature dish, which is that fish plate. I can't remember what it's called, man, but that thing is unbelievable. It's got the red sauce on it. That'll make you slap your mom. It's so good, dude. That like, whoo, don't get me going. It's food time.
Mom's hungry. Watch out.
Yeah, you guys know the deal. You start talking about food and we're gonna do it. Ooh, I love it. What's up, Mr. Jenkins?
Hi, Brian. He's coming to town here, I think, in 2 days.
Awesome. Love it. Thanks for trusting us, brother. We appreciate it. We have been spoiled to say the least, y'all. We got to serve I don't even know how many families last year. Stacy alone did like 22 or 23, helped 23 families relocate, which is incredible. The team did. We had our best year ever on real estate, which has been the slowest it's ever been in the United States, but that's because of you guys and your trust in us. So thank you. And if you are considering moving, you have more questions, you need to get them answered. Go down below. If you go to TV Home Search or text me directly, I'll give you a link to my calendar and we can have a conversation. So we're here to help y'all. That's the goal. We want to make sure that you guys know you got a resource that you can lean on and go through that. So Brian says we are going to be Colts fans in Tampa soon. My man, bring it, bro. Bring it. Okay. Tim says, are homeowners insurance going down or getting better? Tim, this is the question of ages.
How old your house is?
Yeah.
Depends on a lot of things.
I feel like a politician when people start asking me about insurance now. I'm like, you got to tell me where the house is. You got to tell me the condition of the home. You got to tell me how old it is, how many claims have been on it. Like, there's all these caveats before you can start giving any insights, because we're still seeing very affordable insurance rates on new construction. But if you're in a flood zone close to the coast in an older home, it's nothing to see numbers that would probably shock most people. Are a majority of our people getting cut off of insurance? No, I'm not seeing a lot of that. I mean, I haven't had a single client call us and say that their insurance has been revoked. Right. So like that's not really a thing that we've had to deal with. Very fortunately. Is it possible? Sure. But at this point, Tim, you're asking such a good question. With what's happened in California and the losses that those companies are going to have to take, dude, nobody's getting out of this thing unscathed. Nobody. So we'll see what that looks like. Such a great question. More to come. Follow closely, because I assure you, everybody's going to get the insurance rate increases next year. Doesn't matter what state you're living in. You know what I mean? The people in Missouri are going to be covering the cost of people in Florida and California until the government steps in, which I'm not necessarily a proponent of. I don't see how stuff like this it's just fascinating to me, right? At the end of the day, the insurance companies are banks. They make money by telling people no and us paying them more than they have to pay out. That's just the way it works. Such a good question, man. Thanks for asking that. What are the inventory levels like in St. Pete for a starter home? Gusto, great question. Thank you. Inventory is fair. I would say that in St. Pete specifically, looking at the numbers, we're pretty neutral. It's not neither nor a buyer's or a seller's market right now. That's a pretty good spot to be in. We're seeing negotiations on that starter home inventory. There's always going to be more pressure there for the homes that are in good shape. So what I mean by that, as many of you may or may not be aware, affordable housing in the United States is at crisis level based upon income to purchase price ratios. So a starter home, a 3-bedroom, 1-bath in St. Pete, it's not necessarily 2 bedrooms down there. The homes are older. So a starter home in St. Pete technically is a 2-1 or a 3-1 without a garage. In those houses, depending on what neighborhoods, if you're willing to roll the dice, you can find stuff in the 250s. And what I mean is roll the dice is check your crime maps. If you want a great starter home in a walkable neighborhood to like downtown or to Central Avenue, you're talking 400s. It definitely won't be anything new. So great question, man. Let us reach out. Happy to kind of guide you along on that process and dig in a little bit deeper. Again, I'm giving you generalizations, right? You can probably find something for less, and you can definitely spend a lot more money too. So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay. Brian says, neighbors were ice fishing on the pond this week in Central Indiana. Yeah, no, thank you.
Well, Brian, where in Central Indiana are you from? Because I'm from Central Indiana.
Stacy's a Hoosier.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, let us know, Brian. Oh, shout out to Brooksville. Okay. So Tim was from Brooksville. Now he's living in Nashville. Tim, when did you move up there? Love to know, man. It might have been a while. Might have been a little bit. There you go. So Abby says that they are in Westfield.
Westfield, Indiana. Yep. I grew up in Brownsburg.
I have no idea where either one of those places are. Stacy's a Hoosier, though. I know that she was all about Indiana football this year. I was like, what's happening over there?
Yes, I went to IU, and so did my husband. So we're big Indiana Hoosier fans. We brainwashed our children that that's where they were going to school, not thinking that we wouldn't be living in Indiana when they went to college.
Yep.
And they were like, yeah, we're not paying out-of-state tuition. You're staying here.
Love it. We got Rye over on Instagram. Stacy says, hi, Juan and Stacy. Good to see you both. Hopefully with the warmer weather, folks may be looking to rent in Parrish. What's up, brother? Yes. Got a great rental in Parrish, by the way, for everybody. Stacy's got a rental over in Sea Air, which is one of the lagoon communities. We've talked about them before. If you guys have looked at the one over in Epperson or the one up in Murata, she's got a great rental up there. Stacy, we'll put that in the description down below so you guys can check that out later. But Stacy, talk to me about that rental. What size is that property and what's it going for?
Yeah, it's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It's a 2-story. It's a brand new home. No one's ever lived there. It's in, it's about 1,800 square feet. So it has a little loft or a landing on the second floor, which is nice to have that extra flex space. But it's going to be, as soon as the lagoon's ready, which should be open by the end of the year, it's within walking distance to that. So it's like truly going to give you that resort style feeling that you're on vacation.
A 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage, walkable to the lagoon for under $3,000. Brand new that no one else has ever lived in.
Yep. It's $2,700 a month.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's far less than my mortgage, and I don't have all those amenities.
That does include your Wi-Fi, your lawn care.
Yep.
That's a nice deal.
That is pretty nice. So if y'all are considering moving to Parrish, reach out to Stacy. She's got a great rental if you're looking to secure something while you're building your next home. It's a great opportunity for that. So definitely worth checking out. Love that. All right. Let's get back into it. Bill's Auto Mall, outside Indianapolis. What's up? Shout out to Indiana tonight. You guys are all over it.
Hoosiers. Yeah.
Love that. Brian says, Bulldogs, high school state champs in football. Congrats, man.
That's crazy. Yep. I remember going to the state championship when I was a little girl, and that was the last time they won.
Yep.
Pretty amazing.
Oh,
I won't say how long ago that was. Give away my age.
We will not be, I'll divulge my age, but we would never do that to a lady. So Tim said he's been up there for in Nashville for 18 years. Wow, man, you've been gone a long time. I'll tell you what, it's changed dramatically down here, I'm sure, compared to what you remember. The growth has been phenomenal to watch. So thanks for sharing, man, and thanks for watching. I really appreciate that. Abby says, what percent, if you will, of cross-country moves choose to rent first short term? That's such a good question. Stacy, I'll let you answer this because we deal with a lot of new construction. The majority of our clients right now are choosing to go new over resale because of the incentives and the interest rates. And there's a lot of value, and the insurance rates right now. Not that resale homes aren't a great option, but a lot of our clients are choosing to do this. So Abby, that's a great question. And I'm gonna let Stacy take this because she's got a handle on this, because we see it a lot of different ways. But Stacy, how do we normally handle this, or what do you normally see?
Yeah, well, I think that, a lot of our clients, when they start thinking about moving here or wanting to move here, they think that they need to rent first to get a better feel of the area, to figure out where they want to live. But that's what we do, is we help compress time and help find you those communities, so it doesn't take you nearly as long to find the area that's going to feel like home for you. So I feel like maybe 40% think that they're going to rent at first, but we're able to find them something. So for short-term rentals, I feel like we do have some people, because we're doing a lot of new construction up here on the north side of Tampa. They do end up doing short-term rentals until their home's ready.
Yeah. But that's so few. I mean, we've had probably 4 clients out of the over 100 families we serve do an annual rental. That's a very low percentage. Right. So 4%, probably 6 to 10 of them have taken some form of short term, whether Airbnb or, a 3-month, but very few annuals. Like I said, that just hasn't been a thing for the most part, just because of timing. We can do timing pretty well, but ultimately there's different ways to do this. Abby, it's not just one or the other. Timing work, if people are relocating for jobs, that's when the timelines get moved around. They're not as fluid. If you have the ability to stay in your home until you make the decision to move, then we can absolutely help you narrow that down in just a few trips. And at the end of the day, man, when you're renting, you're just lighting money on fire. There is a use case for it, and there are appropriate times to do it. So I'm not anti, but we try to help people understand is what makes more sense for you, right? Is it coming? Because some people's risk tolerance is just entirely different. But Stacy is great at helping everybody identify, and that's our focus of those Zoom calls when we hop on with clients, is to help you. We're listening to lifestyle. Like, that's our first 30 minutes of those calls are strictly lifestyle conversations. So we can understand what you're trying to accomplish. And then we start pointing you to the communities that match that lifestyle. And now you can do effective research at home. And then if you come and spend time here, you can really start to check things off. Yeah, that's for us, or yes, that's not. Right. And that's been a very effective approach for our families. And that's why so few end up renting. Again, if it makes sense to you and that's what feels right, and that's what you guys need to do, we can help you execute that as well. But in our experience, most people, after a few trips or a couple trips, they know exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah. And we can kind of work the timing out pretty close. I mean, sometimes we're just talking about 3 or 4 weeks, and that's a perfect opportunity to get an Airbnb during that transition time. So you're not locked into, a short-term rental or a long-term rental.
Yeah. Great question, Abby. Thank you. And shout out to those guys typing and eating tacos at the same time. Can't imagine what your phone screen looks like right now. The shrapnel. You know it's greasy. you know it's greasy. Love it, Abby. Thank you. All right. Nicholas says, is Riverview still worth it to moving from San Diego, California in the next few months? Okay. So this is a classic question. Thank you for the question, Nicholas. This is one of those classic questions about, is this the right place? Right. And that's not always the easiest thing in the world to, without knowing your ideal lifestyle. I hate giving just blind recommendations. Okay. But I will share with you some stuff where you can review. Give me 1 second. All right. So I'm pulling up Riverview on niche.com really quick. I'll share this with you guys. So bear with me here. All right.
So I'm
now,
curious, why Riverview? Like why?
Yeah,
why are you drawn to that area?
Yep. Especially, I mean, the first thing I'd ask you is, where do you live in San Diego? Are you close to the water? Do you take advantage of being close to the ocean, or is that not important to you at all? Because if it is, the first thing I'm going to tell you is you're putting yourself the farthest away from getting to the beach in Tampa Bay and you're going to have to drive through the most amount of traffic that is the least desirable drive to do it. And again, not saying it's a good or bad community, right? If you look at the what Niche has to say about it, Riverview ranks 102nd in best places to live in Tampa area, but it gets an overall grade of an A. Now, this is a public reviewed site, right? There's 380 reviews on here, but the community members are able to vote on this. There's some great info on these. It's not all perfect, but I think it's fair. It's a great place to start doing research. So niche.com, if you guys have never heard of it, I show these on the videos a lot, but this is a great site. You can type in any neighborhood or area you're looking in, but Niche is a grade, gets a grade of A. Public schools are an A, housing's a B, good for families, according to Niche. B plus in jobs, cost of living, outdoor activities. I mean, it checks a lot of boxes, man. But when you look at the map, right? If we dig into the map here, let me jump over to that really quick, Stacy. When we look at how far you are away, and if you are not a beach baby, like I said, then it won't matter, right? But look at Riverview, Florida to Clearwater Beach as an example. All right. So right now, 53 minutes, during peak season, we can see that go up to 1 hour and 10. Not the end of the world. Again, highly ranked suburb. There's lots of amenities on that side, but you're on the other side of the bay. So answering that question is very difficult for us to do, especially if we don't know what your lifestyle is. But I wouldn't tell you it's a community not worth investigating. The one thing I will say is it's a little, the community overall is just a little bit older. It's a more established community. So if you like that, that's probably a good place to target. But it doesn't have a lot of the new amenities or newer amenities that you're going to find in areas like Wesley Chapel, Lando Lakes, Odessa, Parish, Lakewood Ranch, those types of things. But definitely awesome in that respect. You can be downtown in a pretty decent time period too. But like I said, if you're a beach baby, man, let's talk about other areas that might make sense. Fair to say, Stacy?
Yeah.
Okay. I know we got a little long-winded on that one. Forgive me. But it's a good question. I always like to answer good questions. All right. Okay. Tim says, we'll be hopefully down in March, usually stay in Madeira Beach and Johns Pass area. Yeah, man. And that's opening up pretty slowly, but it is opening back up. I was just down there last week. We're not far from there. I live about 12 minutes drive time from Madeira Beach specifically. So starting to see more and more things open up, man. So yeah, look forward to seeing you down here. Dom, what's up, my brother? Tell Steph we said hello, my man. Hope you're doing good. Haven't heard from him in a while too, so glad to hear it. Probably been sailing the world. I know you guys love to do that. All right, Bill says, no, I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. Just heard Brownsburg, Indiana, Westfield, Indiana, and those are outside of India. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Shout out to Cincy. Good chili up there. Shout out to Skyline. We have a Skyline down in Sarasota, I think, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
It's like the most random thing. You always see it when we drive through there. Which is fascinating. All right. You guys got great questions, by the way. And if you're just joining us, welcome. This is what's happening in Tampa Bay. Q&A, and you guys have lots of questions. So keep bringing them. Like I said, your questions are what drive these videos and drive the videos that I put out on Saturday. Your community questions, what you guys are looking for. We got a whole list of video topics that you guys want to see. And I've already started working on those, and you can start seeing those come out over the next couple of months here. So keep bringing them. I love it. Thanks for the great questions. All right. Alexis says relocating to Dunedin. Awesome. Concerned about buying a townhome by the water. What does insurance look like with the 10-foot rule and concern for townhomes? If you've had a 10-foot surge, the mold issues that occur afterwards. Okay, so lots of things to answer here. As far as I am aware, there has never been 10-foot surge, a 10-foot recorded surge in Dunedin. So that's not really a thing. The question you're asking about the townhome is going to be very specific to the building. When was it constructed? What's the elevation? It's just too hard to answer. Also, townhomes are sharing common area insurance. So your insurance policy is going to be a general policy for the entire community. Typically, sometimes in a townhome, it can be individual insurance, which is very strange, but I've seen those policies before in those communities before. So lots to answer there. Again, hard to give a specific answer without knowing the exact location, the flood zone that it is in or not in, the age of the property, and a lot of other factors. So great question. Great question. And even, I've brought an insurance agent on before, and they're like, we can't answer these till we put in the address and then go ask the questions of the banks, if you will. Right. So, but it's still a great question. Thank you. Said, thanks for adding us in, Abby. Also grew up in Indy, but in Phoenix now. Love that. You guys are, what is happening? Stacy, this is you. Why don't you just put IU on the corner, the behind you there, man? I mean, this is great.
I know, I should.
I love it. I love it. All right. Brian says Paris to Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. My office at ABC has been a bear of a commute. Yeah, that's a tough one. Hour to an hour and a half minimum. If there's a rumor of an accident. Love that. That's such an appropriate term. If there's a rumor of one. And that corridor is like some of the absolutely highest traffic in all of Tampa. I want to pull this up right now, Stacy, and share it with the community here, because this is we had let's talk about, since we're talking about this. All right, so something to take note of right away, since we're talking about traffic. Let's get into that, because I know it can be an absolute bear. Brian, we've got a client who lives in Lithia, and he said he spent an hour and a half to almost 2 hours in a car before. It's crosstown that really gets kind of challenging, just like you're going through there. We'll talk about what that means here in a second. Brian, let us know how many miles that trip is. I think that's important for context, so people can kind of wrap their mind around that, if you don't mind. All right. But speaking of which, the I-4 275 interchange, we call that area Malfunction Junction. Okay. So the next phase of construction is taking place over there. They are finally widening that road project, which is wonderful, because this is the bane of people's existence. They literally call it Malfunction Junction, as you can see right there. And then that's the interchange between I-275 heading into the city, getting onto I-4 heading out to Orlando. That is just, it is a bear at all peak driving times. So definitely not fun. The Florida Department of Transportation has begun the next phase of extensive improvements at the intersection of 275 and 4. Those driving westbound on I-4 will merge towards southbound I-275, remain in the right lane to access the new entry point to exit 45A. Shout out to new. Shout out to Relief, because that, Stacy, when you drive from Wesley Chapel and your home down into Tampa, it all chokes up right there, right? Yeah. It all chokes up right there. If we show you guys on the map, just so you can.
Well, and really, anytime you get near I-4,
yep,
it's horrible. I-4 is horrible.
Yeah, it's this spot right here, y'all. This is what they call Malfunction Junction. It is like, too much coming in, too much going out, and not enough width in the lanes. And this whole spot here just gets really ground down. So that's a tough area. This is why I try to counsel our clients, and I know Stacy does too, to not do crosstown traffic. But not everybody has those options. So that's just, everybody's got to kind of keep that in perspective. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but 275 coming into the city, it's HELL during peak drive times. That coming out of I-4 is nuts, y'all. If I pull it up right now, it's going to tell me that the Disney Drive is 2 hours and 10 minutes. I've never made that in less than 2 hours and 30 minutes. Not ever. It's never even come close. Usually it takes up to 3 hours to get out to Disney, which is crazy. Now I live on the coast, so it is a little bit further, but I'm sharing that because the drive times are never real. They're never real. And that's what I want to give everybody context for. But that 275 heading south, when you come around there, this is like, this right here to me is some of the toughest sledding in all of Tampa Bay. When you're coming up out of Riverview and Brandon, and if you have to go up 275, man, it gets tough. Solomon Expressway is where I usually take my shortcut, and then I'll take the Kennedy over, Stacy, to 275 over here and jump on. That's how I usually get home.
Yeah, I was stuck in that Riverview area tonight trying to get home.
Yeah, so great question, or thanks for sharing, Brian. I think that's awesome. Okay, here it is. He says 50 miles one way over the Skyway, ways to try to trick you into going up 75. Don't believe it. I'm with you, man. I always take the Skyway as well, but that bridge is not for everybody. That bad boy's 400 feet tall, y'all. Like that's not everybody say. I like it, but it freaks some people out. They don't want to go over that bridge because it's large enough. Go ahead, Steve.
It does freak me out. Like when I was staying in St. Pete and I had to take that over to Parrish first couple of times, I was like, oh my gosh, this is intense.
Well, this is what Brian's talking about here. Let me back out a little bit. So here's Parrish, Florida, which is a great location, by the way. It is a really good location. Gives you a lot of access. You're 35 minutes from downtown St. Pete, 35 to 45 minutes to St. Pete Beach as you cross over. So you're going up 275 over the Skyway Bridge. That's what he's referring to. And you can just pop over to St. Pete Beach here, or you can continue to go up through the city, and that'll take you over to the airport. And that's what he's talking about there. So there's really two ways to get around. You can go up 75 there, or 275 the other way. So it's a giant circle if you think of it that way. And that's great perspective and a great share, Brian. So thank you for sharing that. All right, what do we got here? Okay, perfect. I love these are always good comments to share too. Okay. All right. DAW764W says, hold the line, people. Don't buy at these prices. They will come down some more. Okay, whatever. Sure. Many areas in Florida are still 25% overvalued to long-term norms. Okay, cool. Feel free to share the data, man. We'll put it in the chat. We've do the data analysis all the time too. So opinions are one thing, data is a whole nother thing. So feel free to share that with us. But thanks for sharing either way, and thanks for watching too. Tim says, I can remember when all of 275 was a total of 4 lanes. It's crazy to see 275 now 4 and 5 lanes on both sides. Yeah, and to be quite frank, Tim, I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough. We'll see. We shall see. But man, that corridor there is tough sledding, and it's fine if you don't have to go during peak, but that's when most people drive, right? It's this tale of two worlds, if you will, Stacy. I mean, in all fairness, right? If you are blessed enough to work from home, which a lot of our clients get to, lot of our clients, more than half of our clients are remote workers. I would probably say closer to 70%. Now I need to go back and do the math because data rules, not just but it's over half for sure of our clients are remote workers. They're making a lifestyle move, right, Stacy? It's not just for work, or the other half is they're moving for employment. And these are two different lifestyles. And if you don't have to drive places outside of the grocery store and things to do, it's not nearly as taxing on your you mentally or physically for that matter, right? Like, but if you got to drive all over the city, like Stacy and myself, every time we go make a video, y'all, I got to drive hour and a half to one place, sometimes. Or Stacy today, she drove 2 hours to with traffic and everything to go meet a client to look at a house. So we understand is what I'm trying to say here. Is like it can go both ways, but definitely. I think the intent of this conversation and the important thing to know in this conversation is do your best to try to target areas that make the most sense for you based upon that lifestyle, right? Like if you're going to have to drive to work, not everybody gets, not everybody even knows where they're going to end up. But if you do, try to avoid the crosstown traffic. That's the one that gets people hung up most of the time. All right. So if you can drive into, that's better than across to. All right. So thanks for sharing, Brian. Though I think that's a valuable insight to share with people is how long those drive times can be. And thanks for your input as well, Tim, because again, 20 years ago, man, different world, right? Love that. Brian says the Skyway Bridge is not for people with fear of heights. Well, in all fairness, I am terrified of heights. But I want to give a caveat here.
About you, Juan.
So, well, my wife says it differently. So this is why I want to share.
Okay.
We've jumped out of a plane. I have bungee jumped, but I am terrified of being on my 12-foot roof. Terrified. And my wife says, you're not afraid of heights. You're afraid of falling. Right. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's what they call it for. But she's like, no, you never would have jumped out of a plane. You never would have went bungee jumping if you were terrified of heights. People they're never getting up there. And I'm like, well, that's fair. We jumped out of a plane because I felt like it was really final. Like you were either making it or you weren't. And I wouldn't remember if I didn't. Right. Right? Like I was like, well, we're gonna see how this goes. And now that we have, this was a life before children, Stacy, right? Where you're able to do those kind of things, right? Now I don't have a motorcycle anymore, right? Like I'm not jumping out of planes. None of the cool stuff is happening. Like I've moved into old man lane where like you're not allowed to do any of that, right? Well, we can't do any of that. So the kids are out taking care of themselves at least, right? That's just the reality of it. But yeah, man, it's a good point. You don't really see the bottom. I don't know. Well, that's a good question. I haven't been in the car with anyone who's terrified to go over that bridge yet, but I'm sure it'll happen at one point.
How many miles is the bridge? Because it's not very long compared to the Franklin Howard Bridge.
Yeah, that's like 7 miles. 7 miles or 11?
I felt like the Skyway Bridge, it was manageable because it wasn't very, very long.
Let me see here. It says 4.1 miles.
Yeah.
And it's at its peak, it's 430 feet.
Wow.
That's a big one. It's a big one, y'all. I'll tell you where you don't want to be up during a storm. That bridge. That's the bridge you don't want to be on up in a storm. So they do close it. Once winds get up to a certain miles per hour, they shut that bridge down. But I love it.
And then you're in trouble because then you only have one way to get around.
One of my favorite views is coming up to that bridge. Like I love coming up from South St. Pete to that bridge. And I also like coming back over from the Parish side and the Sarasota side to that bridge. I'm going to pull it up for you guys. Let me see if I can get some photos of it. Because it's just such a beautiful sight, man. And I think we used to have it on the intro of the channel, Stacy. But this is like, y'all, look at that. It's so and that, of course, this is not to scale. This is definitely not going to give it the justice it deserves, because this thing right here, those big cruise ships, they go underneath this thing. That's how big this bridge is, right? So it's fascinating. And I know y'all can't see it in the background, but this view here is looking at St. Pete on the other side. So when you come over the top of this bridge and you're coming down, you can see the top of Tropicana Field. You can see St. Pete and all, Terra Verde and Sand Key and all those gorgeous spots. And when you're coming over the other side, you can see Anna Maria Island coming into Bradenton down there. It's just beautiful. I'm a big fan. Again, not for everybody. Totally get it. Totally get that. But great question. Okay. Tim says best time to drive through there is 2 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, that's like Atlanta, right? Best time to go from Atlanta is like 2 or 3 in the morning for sure. Otherwise, it's just crazy. All right, let me see. Thing about driving 275 corridor is this. Unlike 75, it's got a lot of bridges and beautiful sunrises. My man, exactly, right? Same thing, man. Like you catch those. It's just to me, it always puts a smile on my face, even though traffic can be heavy, because you're right. You see the boats. There's people kite surfing all the time right at the south end of the bridge, Stacy, or the north end of the bridge on the St. Pete side. There's like clubs over there.
Yeah.
So you just see all this wonderful activity going on. I love it. I'm a big fan. So I'm with you on that one, Brian. That is my choice also, is to go there. So thanks, man. Let me see here. Abby says, I work from home, but need access to a great airport because I'm in sales. Noticing there are 3 options in the Tampa area. There are plenty of flight options from all over the world to stay closer to Tampa. Yeah, TPA is the best choice. Well, let me rephrase this. It has the most flights, and it's actually been recognized as one of the best large airports in the country for 2 years in a row, I think. It is so easy to get in and out of Tampa International. I'm not kidding. I allocate an hour and 10 minutes, and that gives me enough time to drive all the way from the beach, park my car, and get a Starbucks, and I'll be showing up at the gate on time. So it's easy to get in and out of TPA. Pi, which is Clearwater, St. Pete also, but it's a little bit smaller. They have Allegiant flights and things like that. So there are options in there for you as well, Abby. But not as many flights go out of there. And then you've got SRQ down in Sarasota, which is also technically international, but not as many flight options. And if you really, depending on where you live in Tampa, if you're on the east side, you could drive out the MCO as well out in Orlando and have all the flights in the world out there too. So quite a few options, but like I said, Tampa is by far the easiest to get in and out of, has the most flights. And for my money, I love flying out of the airport. It's never overwhelming. I love the way that it's designed. You don't go through security with everybody all at once. What they do is they put you on a tram, and then you go through security with the people who are getting on your flight.
They spoil you, because then you go over to Orlando and you're like, what the heck's going on here?
Dude, that MCO is a disaster, where they let you off the tram, the same place where the people are coming on the security. It makes no sense.
I know.
Right? In one of the busiest airports. It's crazy. Right? It's crazy. Dom, you clearly don't remember us being in the car when you said, oh yeah, that's it. You were not freaking out. So shout out to Dom and Stephanie. Dom's not the biggest fan of heights by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm talking about somebody losing it. Like, you ain't going over that bridge, it ain't happening kind of thing. So, but he definitely was not the happiest soul about the situation, but you still managed, dude. You still managed. Shout out to you. Thought you were driving me off a cliff. It looks that way. 430 feet is a big cliff. Right. I'm pretty sure that's the biggest mountain in Florida. Now I need to check this. We need to find this out. I wonder if there's a higher driving point in the state. I've never been on it. All right. That's a good question. Awesome. All right. It is awesome going under the skyway on a cruise ship. Exactly. Especially the big ones, man. It probably looks like you're going to tip into that thing, and it's fat. You see those big pilings out there to keep ships from running into it, so you don't have that situation you had out in Maryland. Yeah, great guys. We love the questions. Thanks for being part of the community. Thanks for being with us. I got a few more things to bump in here for you, Stace. Just going through some news and notes on the local end. We've got best small cities to live in Tampa Bay. I love this. Good article here. Several spots make the best small cities in America list. I think this was important, but we're talking about Tampa Bay specifically. Let me see if I can pull this out a little bit. Sarasota ranked in that list. They were up in the 94th percentile. Dunedin's on that list. We talked lots about Dunedin. That's a great little marina town, fishing town, if you will. Northport made the list, which is a little bit just south of Sarasota there. You've got Bradenton, which again, we were just talking about Bradenton and the bridge and parish and those things. You've got Largo, which is the city I live in. I live in Southwest Largo. I'm right by Indian Rocks Beach. Great area there. Pinellas Park made the list, Stacy. Didn't see that coming. Not gonna lie. Yeah. I did not see that coming. Plant City, which is on the east side of Tampa, Wesley Chapel, totally expected to see that, especially since they were ranked the #1 city to live in the state. Temple Terrace made the list. That's right by University of South Florida. And Valrico. Valrico is not too big of a shock. Thought that was worth having a conversation about. Also, this just came out. Florida was ranked the #1 state to retire in. I don't think that's a shocker for anybody. Pretty normal to see that. But as we dig into the states here, I wanted to show you guys just a little bit more like what made that rank. So you got Florida at #1, Minnesota, Colorado, Wyoming, and South Dakota rounding out the top 5. And then here's why I wanted to get into this. Where was it? The best cities. So now obviously Florida ranked #1, but what are the best cities? So this is the continuation of that article here. The best cities to retire in Florida: Orlando ranked as #1, Miami at #2, Minneapolis ranked at #3, and on that list, Tampa was #4, and Fort Lauderdale was #5. So in the country, we got for the top 5, which I don't think is a shocker. It's Florida, right? But let's get into this list a little bit. I thought this was pretty cool. So Orlando, Miami, Minneapolis, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, Scottsdale, Arizona, Cincinnati, Ohio. Y'all, you know how cold it is in Cincinnati?
And it beat out St. Pete.
Are you crazy? Well, look at their activity rank. Like, there apparently is a lot to do in Cincinnati. And I've been down to the ballpark there. I've done the things, but like, I'm just shocked. It beat out St. Pete.
Is it because of portability?
Well, that's part of it. That's part of it for sure. But like St. Pete also is in the top 10. So we've got Tampa and St. Pete both in the top 10, which I thought was great. And then obviously there's a lot of other Florida cities in there. You can get, I'll put these resources in after we wrap up. But speaking of which, I wanted to talk about this because what I find fascinating on this list before I jump off this page, Orlando is #1, Miami #2, Minneapolis, Tampa, and then we get to St. Pete at #8. All right. Now, the best place to retire, Stacy, wouldn't a normal correlation be to say that the best places and worst places to retire, the best places to retire would probably have a wiser community, people who are further along in years?
Correct.
Is that a diplomatic way to say that? I don't know any other way to say that. Gingerly and with all the respect that you have earned, right? So I'm well on my way to being a senior member of this world. Completely understand. I know where the wisdom is, but I wanted to share this with you because I think this is super important. All right, it's not an old community. It's not an old community at all. So the first thing I want to show you guys, Tampa, which is the #4 place in the country to retire, has a median age of 35.5 years. That's what's over here on this side. 35.5. We're not even 36 years of age in the city. Okay. St. Pete is 42.9. That's the blue line on this list. And Clearwater is 46 years of age. So none of these communities even get to 50 years old. And Tampa, which ranks #4 in areas, best places to retire. So going back to this, #4 on this list is 35.5 years old on average. That's fascinating. Does anybody else find that fascinating? That tells me that you're attracting a lot of young talent and you have a very vibrant city. You also have a Y city, apparently.
What about Orlando? What's the
median age? I don't know. Let's look it up. All right, let's look it up.
Because that just surprises me.
Yep.
Retiring in Orlando because
I'm guessing it's under 52, right? Median age of.
I mean, my daughter lived there. I was like, "Are you sure you want to live there?"
34. They're younger than Tampa.
Wow.
By 0.8 of a year, right? So look at that. You look at these cities, they're on this list, and there's Miami. So now you've got all three in that top 4 list, right? Mm-hmm. Miami's 39.7 years of age, Tampa's 35.5, and Orlando's 34.7. So y'all, when people tell you that Florida is God's waiting room, you got to make sure that you're digging into the actual data. All right. And in all fairness, we definitely have a great mix of what I think is we've got a really good balance. You need wisdom, right? You need youth and you need balance from families to make a community very strong overall. Well, those things go together to make a good balanced community that performs pretty well. So I love that. And I think it's fascinating when you look at things like this, right? When you really start to dig into the numbers, because most people don't know. I didn't know. That's part of the reason why we moved here, y'all. When we were considering these areas, we looked at Jacksonville, we looked at Orlando. I've shared my story before that we were considering moving to Stewart Jensen Beach. That's where we thought we were going to live. My father-in-law has lived over there for a decade, or I'm sorry, he's been there for 25 years. He's been in Florida forever. But we thought we were going to live there, Stacy. And when we really started doing our homework on Tampa was getting young. It was still very affordable at that time. As a matter of fact, it was very inexpensive in my mind, to move to the area. But the youth was the thing that shocked me the most. I did not recognize how young the city is. And when you get downtown, you can feel it, right? When you get near the city center, it definitely feels that way. Let me get in some more of these comments. You guys got great questions. I haven't seen the other guest, the realtor from Sarasota, Bradenton area. I hope all is well. I miss seeing her. Mr. Goff, she is definitely missed. And, we have updated the community before, but it's been a while since we've shared that with you guys, that we unfortunately lost Marcia to her battle with cancer right around Thanksgiving of last year. So thank you for asking about her, and thank you for noticing her absence. She will be missed for a long time. Stacy and I were talking about this yesterday. I know she doesn't want to get back into it because we were both emotional about the situation, but thank you for asking, and just keep her family in your prayers if you don't mind. That'd be wonderful. But she's absolutely will always be a member of our team for sure. So thank you for asking about that. Brian says Orlando. That's where I tell people that I don't like to retire. Yeah. Yep. All right. Got it. Is 40 too young to retire in Florida? Asking for Brian. Love that. No, it's not. I mean, you guys. Now I'm starting to get a complex, Stacy. Yesterday we met with a couple who he's 45 and they're retiring.
Yeah.
Right. Now you're telling me Brian's 40 and retiring. What am I not doing right? I'm trying my best over here.
You screwed up, obviously.
No wonder why it's ranked as the best place to retire, because everyone who's retiring here is 40 or younger. Like, what is happening right now? Right? We need to become crypto millionaires, I think. But that's what we need to have happen. I love that. It's a great question. All right. Oh, wow. Tampa Bay is young aged region. Yep. I had no idea. Same, man. Again, until I started digging into it, before we moved, I didn't know either. And then like I said, when you're downtown, you can feel it. When you're in the up and coming area, so to speak, you can feel that youth. But again, I think we have a really good blend. I don't ever feel like it's crazy lopsided one way or the other. So I like that about where we live. All right. B. Shari says, and forgive me if I did not say that correctly. Stacy, what's the comment here?
I just want a new build condo bigger than a closet for under $600K. Mission impossible.
Well, it depends on where. That's not impossible. Yeah. But if you want to live on the beach, that it definitely is going to challenge, your budget. But that really depends on your taste. What is the fit and finish that you require and or need?
Yeah, I mean, it's not possible. It's just
no.
Is that acceptable? Like, are you okay with, what you're going to get for that? I guess.
Stacy, we can get condos and townhomes for well under that. That's not I need more information.
By the water, like it depends, like where
Yep.
The community.
Exactly. We definitely would need to know more information to give you better guidance on that. Mr. Goff says, "Oh my God, deepest condolences." Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you. We appreciate that. And again, Marcia, she's gonna be missed for forever, and I am not ever afraid to talk about her because she made my life better. So thank you for anybody that wants to remind me of her. That is a welcome respite. So do not hesitate to do that. She made an impact on a lot of people. So appreciate you. Brian says, I teach tennis and pickleball. Love that. I'm not retiring. Need to get a job down there, though, if you have any connections. Well, pickleball is obviously the hottest thing since sliced bread all across the country, and Florida is no exception. We just had like another huge facility open up here. I'm going to get into some of those videos about pickleball because we just get asked a ton. So we'll definitely get into
there's
that.
that huge sports complex that's going to be
Yep.
built in Pasco County. So,
Yep.
like
Absolutely.
pickleball, like every master plan community has pickleball courts, and a lot of them are having their own leagues, and yeah, it's just crazy.
Yep. Absolutely. Oh, there's Claire. Thank you. Thanks for giving us context to what you were asking about. So Channel Side, Water Street, downtown Tampa. Thank you for condolences. Appreciate that. And okay, now we're getting dialed in. Yes, that is going to be a little bit tight there. All right. So again, context is everything, right? Yo? Yeah. If you want to live with water views in downtown Tampa, that is going to be a little bit of a tight budget. It's not impossible. What I need to know what you're looking for too. Do me a favor. Send me a message. Phone number's there. Stacy and I are happy to connect with you and dig in a little bit deeper because I know we got stuff. We've been down there with clients before. We can make that happen. Get you some insights for sure. But we'd need to know a lot more about what you're looking for. But happy to help if you've got questions. Tim says, so if you're a first-time home buyer, is it better to go through a bank or a mortgage office? Or does it really matter? Great question. Stacy?
I would say you need to go through a lender or mortgage office. They have more options, right?
Yep.
Shopping around.
Yeah. Well, that's just there pros and cons of all of them, right? Just like anything else, Tim. As a let me put it this way. What's the best way for us to move this into a diplomatic conversation? If it was my money, and it is, when I bought my house, Tim, I could have went anywhere. I could have went to Chase Bank. I could have went to Truist. I could have went to any bank in the country because once you qualify, right? As long as you got the credit score and the down payment, and you can make the numbers work, people will loan you money. All right. I chose to use a private mortgage lender. And the reason that I did that is because I have seen them work through all kinds of challenges to get jobs done. And also I can talk to my lender after 4:30 on a Monday through Friday or a Saturday or Sunday. And when you're buying a home, if you're buying a resale home, and this is where I want to get very specific in Florida, you want somebody who's going to go to bat for you, that's going to answer your calls. And I'm going to give you a specific example. Our listing that we put under contract last weekend had multiple offers. Those offers came through on the weekend, of course. Okay. Part of my job as a listing agent representing the seller is to make sure that those buyers have the legitimate means to purchase that property, right? So due diligence, if you will. Well, part of that process for me is calling the lender, making sure that they verified their credit score, all of their income, their assets, and they have all the documentation to support all those things. You know who's not going to answer those phone calls on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday? Chase Bank, Truist. I can go through the list, right? You know who does? The private lenders who represented those clients that gave my seller the assurance that they were good to go. So that is why after 12 years of real estate, I still choose that. Now, I've had clients that choose the big box banks because they've been banking with them. Their businesses have been banking with, and they give them a smoking hot deal and they're willing to put up with it. And they have a personal banker. So both sides, right? But I've also seen those big box banks be late on closing more times than I care to admit. So not saying that one is right or wrong, good or better. Which one is better for your situation is the appropriate question. Right? Who's going to go to bat for you? Who do you feel comfortable working with? Because again, a qualification is what it is. So that's a great question, man. And again, my money went to the local banker. I'm sorry, the mortgage broker, because I knew that she was going to get the job done for me. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, and keep in mind most like things come up at the last minute in real estate, and they're very time sensitive. So They don't always happen between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday. So it can make it a very stressful, buying process when your lender is not easily accessible.
Yep. Shop your money is what I always tell everybody. So shop your money, because again, if you can qualify with one, you're most likely qualified with many. So you can always shop your lender. You can shop rates, but that's not the most important thing. People hear rates and they're like, oh, I got a great rate, but they're paying all kinds of crazy fees and closing costs. So keep that in perspective. And then also who is following up, who's got a good track record of service. These are the things that are important to me, not the junior banker that they put in charge of the mortgage division at X, Y, and Z bros. Right. So if I sound passionate about this, is because I am. I've seen it go very poorly in both ways. Right. So good question. Who is best for you? Right. Love that. Mr. Goff says, do you see Parish as a region worth investing in at the present? Will it become the next Wesley Chapel? We've made videos about this.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yes, for my money, the long money is on Parish. There aren't as many places that have the ability to grow like Parish has to grow. Wesley Chapel's pretty much tapped out. They're at 83,000 residents. They're going to get up to 110, 120. It's going to be just like Clearwater in that respect, probably. All the amenities in the world, which is great. Parish is sitting at about 50 or 60, and they got way more land to develop and work through. So long term, next 5 to 10 years, absolutely. I'm really long on Parish.
Yeah.
Proximity to St. Pete, proximity to Tampa, proximity to Sarasota and Lakewood Ranch. It's just a great location. Yep, love this. All right. Okay. People are leaving Florida, South Carolina. Florida pay is low. Car home insurance through the roof and hurricanes. Yeah. So these are comments that we get on the channel all the time. Right. If you go look at the comments on this, and Florida has netted more people than it's lost continuously. There are people. So this is what I want to address, though. There are people who are moving to the Carolinas, the most popular relocation destination in 2024. Right. It was Florida and Texas. Now it's the Carolinas. They're running there. People are moving there like they were here 4 or 5 years ago. And they're seeing that same kind of boom we're going through right now. Where we see people leaving and going to the Carolinas right now are fixed incomes usually, and people who are just looking for a 4 seasons, if you will. You don't really get snow. Well, they did. They just got snow, but that's not a normal thing up there. But definitely people who are looking for a lower cost of living. As of right now, you can find that in the Carolinas. It won't be another 2 years before they're right on pace with us. If you look at the numbers, it's right there. But this is a fair comment, and it is true. But it's not like people are going in droves. At the end of the year, Florida will have netted 100,000 plus people to the state again. And it'll still be one of the top relocation destinations in the country, but fair comment for sure. All right. These guys got great questions. You guys are rocking. Thanks for joining us, y'all. And hey, if you don't follow the channel, hit the subscribe button. Please do us that honor. We love hanging out with you guys, but also love being part of the community. So if you're watching this later, feel free to ask your questions, leave a comment. Happy to connect with you. But if you're not subscribed, do us that favor if you don't mind. All right. Cav says, can a married couple buy a house in Tampa and get a mortgage with one person living in a different state temporarily? Important because half the income to get approved is from the other partner. So great. Another good question, Stacy. We deal with this all the time, where one of the spouses or one of the family members is moving to the state to work while the other one is still behind in the other home, while they're either selling it or wrapping up work. That's not uncommon. Right. So yes, you can, but when it comes to the income, how they write up the mortgage will be a little bit different. Sometimes they'll treat it as an investment, depending on the mortgage. I don't want to get too far in the weeds here because they have to look at your specific situation. But the short answer is it's absolutely possible. Not difficult either. Right, Stacey?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Awesome. You guys are going, oh, listen to this. Okay, here's Stephanie, right? I purchase homes using both. Shop your lender. It's not always right. Yep. I had a tough as-is purchase, and having my local lender as a text away was crucial. Not all LOs are absolutely. Stephanie's in the business too, y'all. So she knows the back end of this handily, right? So I think it's important. Again, shop your money. That's what I said earlier, right? If you're going to be financing a property, it's not just about the rate, because you get into those we've seen those good faith estimates, and you start seeing the fees on there. You're like, what in the world? Like, these guys are paying big points to purchase down this mortgage rate when you could probably get pretty close somewhere else. Lot to consider when that stuff goes on, especially when mortgage rates are where they are right now. So just keep that in mind, guys, as you go through this. Love that. All right, let me see here. So thank you, Stephanie, by the way. Stephanie's a gangster. Stephanie, are you still at BMO? If you are, you need to let me know so we can let them know. Because if you're local in the Sarasota area, I've got a great business loan officer if you need one. FYI, this may be her name. Just saying. Awesome. Tim says, if you ever go up to Brooksville, please check out the Red Mule Pub. If you're looking for a good sandwich. Dude, count me in. What sandwich do I need to have? Don't just leave me hanging with that. Like, sandwich is a very ambiguous term. We're talking about bread and meat, but there's a lot of options in between there, dude. Don't leave me hanging. Give me your favorite, right? Like, let us know. Make sure that you're sharing the truth over here. I love this. I want to make sure we don't have any missed comments over on Instagram. Shout out to us. Shout out to you guys who are watching us on Instagram. Love that, because we don't have the ability to connect through the stream like we do with everybody else. So appreciate you guys on that. Okay, another question coming through. Do you have any information on the 3,400 homes being built in Newport Richey, Newport Corners? I believe it's Lennar and one of the builders. We'll dig into that. I don't specifically. What about you, Stacy?
I do not. No,
All
I
right.
have to do something.
She was going to cover Two Rivers. We had all kinds of other stuff, but you guys asked a bazillion questions, which we are grateful for. So thank you for that. It is after 8 o'clock. We usually go to 8, but the questions just kept rolling in tonight. So happy to get with those, answer all of those for you guys. Thank you so much for being a continued part of the stream. Sorry we missed last week. Like I said, I was sick. It was going to be coughing in your ear for an hour. Nobody wants that. Stacy was under the weather too. It was like crazy time. And it was cold. So that was our excuse. All of the excuses just got dumped on the table. We're just giving it to you. We were babying in winter here in Florida, but happy to connect with you guys. We'll be back next Tuesday at 7 p.m. At the regular scheduled time to talk more. We're going to talk about Two Rivers and Vita's Way, Stacy. I want to make sure we get into that early, but we will be answering your questions as always, guys. Keep you up to date on some of the local news and what's happening in and around town. So hope you guys had an incredible evening. And as always, what do they need to do, Stacy?
Go out and live that